Miami. It is Wednesday, October 9th, 2019, and this is Nothing's Going On, episode 20. I'm your host, Rafa. I'm here with the excellent panel. To my left is Arthur Handler, as always.
Oye, Miami, good yontif and kol hakavod.
Oh, you got me with the heebie-jeebie.
It's Yom Kippur, man.
With the Heeb stuff.
I'd be fasting, but I'm too slow.
To his left, very special guest, photographer extraordinaire Rod is here. Rod, I didn't ask you how you wanted to be presented before the show, so I just said Rod, but if you want to give your full name, that's cool too. If not, I don't do it.
That's fine. Rod Gaia, Rodrigo Gaia, Gaia man.
Call him up, check out his Instagram. I want to give a shout out to Jolt Radio, as always, for hosting us, and to Mr. John, who's taking pictures of us or something right now. Make sure you go to joltradio.org or wherever. If you want to listen to the show afterwards, you can go to nothingsgoingon.com, subscribe to the podcast. Okay. Couple things off the cuff here and Miami stuff that happened in the past week. The first thing I want to say is that last week, the whole show, you're fine. I'm telling you, you're fine. Last week, we did episode 19, and I kept saying it was episode 19. It was actually episode 18, but just went with it after that once it's posted. So we skipped episode 18. No big deal. Second thing, okay, and I want to bitch about this, and it's kind of fitting that you're here, Rod, because you can kind of relate and you can't. So I went last Friday, I went to Churchill's to watch Jacuzzi Boys play. Great band. And I hadn't seen them in a while, and even though I've seen them a lot of times already, and I've kind of had I'm not going to say it. I'm kind of used to the shows already, but whatever. It had been a while. I wanted to go. The energy was still there. It was good. The one thing I need to bitch about, and it's not you, but it's the other guy.
The weather. The
fucking photographer that... Oh, you can't hear. He just wrote me Artie just wrote me a note that says, I can't hear myself. Try talking to yourself.
I talk to myself every day.
Can you hear it? I can hear it.
Is low.
Don't worry, it's not low. I can see it on I can see it on the monitor. You're fine.
We're good?
It's the headphones that are wrong. Anyway, I'm at this show.
The photographer.
There's this photographer, and he has an assistant.
He's got to be good.
He's on the stage the whole time, right in the front, like obscuring the band from one side. I hate when that happens. I hate band photographers that put themselves too much in the show, the whole show, you know? It's like, okay, if you go in and get your shots,
but that's how you get
great.
The good shots.
Yeah, I'm sure you do, but you know what sucks is that these shows have a lot of energy. There's a little mosh pit in the side and whatever, and these guys break the vibe because they're just so... like, not into the show. They're into their own shit, you know? And it's like, dude, these guys have been shot 100 million times. Like, can't you just go find a fucking photo or get a telephoto lens and shoot them from the back of the room?
There are many ways of doing it, of getting different shots of... It's because there's so many moments. At some point, you kind of feel like you need to get everything, but once you do it enough, you kind of just... You can kind of see things as they come up. So you can kind of come in and out and kind of predict the future a little bit. But yeah, you got to get out of the way. I was just talking to one of the best photographers in Miami, Patrick Farrell, won 2 Pulitzer Prizes for the Miami Herald. And he just told me this morning, he's like, the best photographers are the ones you never see. And there's a lot that has to do with vibe and the way you present yourself, and if you want to be front and center, you want to act like you're part of the band, even though you're not. And look, man, I'm a band photographer. I've been on tour with bands and stuff. And
well, I was gonna say you took photos that day too, but you didn't get in. I mean, maybe I didn't even notice you doing it. You know, you were on to the side. Maybe you jumped in every once in a while. Yeah. That's different. There's guys who just post up right in front of the band, and it's like, dude, you're ruining the show.
Well, I get it.
Out of the way.
Probably like. An old school sort of implied photographer mentality was you take 100 shots, and you're going to get maybe 2 that are good. So you gotta
Yeah, of course.
roll film. And I guess what you're saying is that there's a certain level you get to where you feel it, where you're not just operating the camera, but you're feeling the moment. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, because you end up seeing the way the light is coming. You see because I used to shoot for venues that I would go like 6-7 nights a week for like 4 years. Go to the same place that many times and try and get different photos every time. You kind of go crazy, but you start looking for details. What makes this DJ, this band different from the one the night before or whatever. And usually it involves a crowd, but it takes a lot out of you to be that focused. It's easier to just get in front of everyone, get a ton of photos, flash it all up, and then just not give a crap.
So if we're seeing you in front of the band, you're probably not that great of a photographer.
You shouldn't notice. You shouldn't know. Like he.
I like what Rafa says. We shouldn't see you.
Yeah, he should have taken you should see the shot off to the side and then jump in and then jump out.
Yeah, exactly.
2 seconds in and out, and then a chimp, and then kind of look at the photo, see if you got it, and then honestly, your first instinct might not be that interesting. It might be a little cliche. It might be some repetitive stuff, and a lot of the photos are a little more interesting if you can give it context, give it space.
So
show what's around.
One of the things, it's already bad enough that the kids just some of the kids have their phones out the whole time, and it's like, oh, fuck off, dude, you're watching it right here. You're never gonna go watch this video again, But it also kind of sucks that the bands never say anything. Dude, photographer, get the fuck out of my face! You, the whole vibe is you in the front doing nothing. You know what I mean?
I think that might have been the Churchill guy too, the local.
Oh yeah,
local. Yeah. So you start getting a little jaded, and you stop caring a little so much. But that's when you should probably take a break.
So who can we get mad at? Who can we blame?
Mirror, just yell at the mirror,
right? Because it might be the Churchill's guy. He wants it for the Churchill's website, or it's a photographer that's hired by the band. Hey, we got an album coming out.
I gotta get the shot.
We gotta get a cover. We gotta give a cover. Who's to blame here?
I'm gonna look up what shots they used from this show and
critique them and
see if at the end of the show they got them all to stand together and he took these shots. If they use one of those, I'm so fucking pissed.
Someone is going to he'll have a credit, in the image at the bottom if it's a publication.
I can
then you know who to go after.
Lengthy email.
Depends who you work for.
Oh, that's right. That's a good one. Okay. I didn't mention that if you want to give us a call, it's 305-361-8557. You can shit on whatever we're talking about or, bring something up, whatever. You got to comment, text us, or call us 305-361-8557. Okay,
Yo,
you guys...
Can I interrupt you and give a shout-out to all the 305-361ers out there?
It's few and far between nowadays. Everybody's rocking
What the hell is 361? Is that a new area code that I don't know?
It's no, it's an old key rat. If you had a 361, you were original. You had a 365, you're after 98. I was
Roger, that's like the 596 out in the K-hole where I'm from. All right, I'm feeling it.
All right, anything happened to you this week?
Yeah, a lot of stuff. Off the cuff, I'm going to say I like James River oysters.
What?
Yeah, we dumped the kids last night, me and the old lady, and we actually went out on a date. We like eating oysters and getting romantic. And we had James River, which were, I don't know where they're from, assumably the James River, but they're really good.
Where'd you have them?
There's a joint out in Kendall that I'm not a big fan of, but they got good oysters. It's called Devon Seafood.
Okay.
I have a cousin named Devon, but it's right by the house. And I wouldn't promote them because they always give us bad service. And
I don't think you're promoting them.
No, I would never promote them. But the oysters are good. Somehow they got a lock on good oysters. And I was told by a French guy, DJ Suicide, who we all know and hate, who says you're not supposed to eat oysters in months that don't end in R. So now that we are in September, October, November, December, the cold months is the time to eat oysters. You don't want warm water oysters.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, right. You can get sick.
Now it's all warm
so
water,
now that we're finally in the months that end in we went and had some.
But people eat those Florida oysters.
I've had them. They're big, they're meaty, they're value. For the bang for the buck, they're great. But
it's like a Florida avocado. It's a big and tasteless.
And you're and you're taking your chances. Because it's a warm. They're all from Apalachicola.
Yeah,
and they're great and they're huge and on the plate they're impressive and they're just.
Those are good. You know what?
Tasty,
like fried and stuff like that.
Yeah, you know what?
Rockefeller style or whatever.
Every time I guzzle them raw, I always worry.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we're in the cold months now, so eat your oysters.
I'll give you a little trick with those Florida avocados if you ever find yourself with one.
Hit me.
You buy a Haas avocado and then
mix it in
and eat the Haas
to get a little bit more out of your guac.
So it's been at least 15, 20 minutes since I smoked weed. I quit a long time ago. No, I'm kidding. It's been a lot of years. But in the old days, what we would do is buy an eighth bag of the killer, and then we'd buy like a half-o of the filler, and we'd grind it all together. And so what you're saying is that's the same sort of deal, right? I guess that's a very Miami thing to do. My old lady hates the Florida avocados.
The crispy.
The big ones. She wants the little Haas avocados, which are very tasty, I think. But you get more meat with the big
exactly.
ones, of course.
So, funnily enough, my buddy, a good buddy of mine, he's been on the show. I won't say his name because, I don't know, maybe he could get in trouble, but I'm not going to say it. But he just finished growing 3 little weed plants in his backyard.
Good for
They
him.
didn't grow very big. He just wanted to do it because he got a new house and he's like, oh, let me grow some plants. And he moved into a new place. And
Let me risk my title.
Yeah, and so he did it, and he just got the yield. And it's funny because even though I don't smoke anymore, everybody now smokes like California and Colorado stuff. All the weeds kind of imported because
Take
those
it to
places
another
have so
planet.
much surplus, and it's really high potency and like blah 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 blah. So he grew this stuff. And he's like, here, smell it. And you smelled it, and it just smelled like that Miami crippy from back in the day. It must be the soil or something.
That stuff,
and
man.
it just smelled like the old Miami weed, and not like this newfangled stuff. So I guess I'm getting nostalgic for Florida avocados, basically, but the weed variety.
I thought you were getting nostalgic for old Florida crippy, old Miami crippy. I remember the days.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. But
I'm like back in the 90s, you'd still be getting good regs, and you'd be looking for somebody. There was a thing for a while called the Crippy Cousins. I don't know if you remember that.
No, I don't.
But it was they looked like Crippy, but they had seeds and they were all dried out.
Oh, like mids.
I guess
mids.
You guys from the Key Rats used to call them mids. But I don't know. For us, it was Crippy Cousins.
Got your highs, your mids, and your lows.
For those of you who this is your first show, we don't normally talk about drugs to this experience. But this is our section called Off the Cuff, where we just sort of warm up on the show here.
I'm glad I can inspire it.
There you go.
You guys do anything else this past week? Anything else this past weekend or anything? I have one more little thing to bitch about.
Yeah, I've been. Oh no! Don't let me stop.
Oh no, you got nothing?
No, I just got back from from my life, and dude, I've been nonstop. Man, Miami's hasn't stopped. It'll never stop.
So did you go out on Saturday after the show on Friday?
What was all right?
Friday we went to Churchill's.
All right, no, I flew in. I fly in on Tuesdays and I leave Wednesday. So I go Tuesday nights. I go jazz
Okay.
at the corner. Shout out to 90s Color.
Love the corner. Are we talking about the corner bar?
Yeah.
The corner bar.
Love that bar.
Yeah. Shout out to Keon. And then
Never heard of him.
You've seen him.
yeah, local. And then I went out. Wednesday was Churchill's.
No, that was Friday. Oh, your whole shit's retarded.
Hanging out with Juanpi at the beach 2 days.
Oh, that's what you did on Saturday and
getting some
Sunday.
color, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
So, okay. Well, if you remember anything else, let me just bitch about one little thing. I went to the PAM on Saturday.
Oh, again, we're bitching about the Pam.
Ooh, I went to Pam on Wednesday.
Definitely. I love the PAM, but
Shout out to Pam.
they really let me down. Just went to go see. I went to go see what was installed. I didn't even check. Maybe I should have checked, but it still seems weird. 2 of the galleries were closed.
They're getting
installing.
They got to be getting ready for Basel.
Yeah, I guess, but man, like
this early, you have to do it because you're going to have nobody in November.
one of them's going to be closed for another 2 weeks. The biggest one is
Right.
closed for another
They're
2
probably doing
weeks.
something big for Basel.
and the smaller one was I didn't even see how long it would take, but it's just I don't know, man. Find it, but install faster. I don't know what to tell you. You know,
Jesus. Tell your curators that. Tell your shippers that. Yeah.
And then the stuff that was there, everything was a little bit of the new
Pedestrian.
stuff. Actually, there is one exhibition that's worth it right now. Chinese guy. God, he's big too, and I should know his name.
Xu Bing.
No,
Li Bao.
Oh, dude, you see Shu Bing at FIU?
I installed that show.
I think it
Oh,
was.
dude, up
it was-
top, man. I
It
shot
was
that.
Wong. I'm gonna.
Did you see the
The-
hanging?
yeah,
the hanging,
dude. Yeah,
those
yeah.
were $1 million a piece. That was $3 million in paper that we hung across
Word.
over 100 feet. It
was
was
a cool
it was
show.
insane how we had to do that. We built the chalkboard in the back.
Yeah, I photographed him there.
Excellent,
with
man.
the classrooms.
Very
and everything.
interesting.
Yeah.
We built that.
Yeah, good for you, man. That was dope. Super dope. That space is really cool.
It's honestly,
The frost.
if it
right?
weren't so far out in the glades,
Yeah.
you know that place would really be rocking.
Yeah.
And they also suffer from some management issues, and
Yeah, who doesn't?
it's a museum. It's a university
It's a-
museum,
yeah.
so they kind of suffer because of that. But yeah, Xu Bing was.
that was nuts.
And apparently, Xu Bing himself is really big, man. I mean, something very huge in China.
oh, I can.
We
imagine.
were very lucky to be a part of that show. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm
just to be there.
I'm
yeah,
psyched
it was-
to hear somebody.
Oh,
who
dude.
knew.
No, that blew my mind.
Excellent.
And apparently, a lot of that is just gibberish, right? Or is it actually?
I don't know. I don't read Chinese.
No, neither do I. No, but I think like his. Well,
He's
I
a
don't know.
calligrapher, is what this
Yeah,
big deal is.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But he doesn't necessarily. Oh, actually, you know what it was? I bought a book of his that was written in emoji.
Wow.
Every word, just sequence of emojis,
And it was
then
good?
yeah, and you get a you get a sense of like, well, just playing with perspective. That's the fun part of art, is that you can just trip people out with, like, oh, I can't read this, and then you like give it a second, and the mind can adapt to
Sure.
stuff like that, dude.
Our minds are wired that way to try and make
Ugh.
meaning out of something. So if you're just
Yeah.
tuning in, check out Xu Bing. He's a big time Chinese calligrapher artist, and he had a great show about 5-6 years ago here in Miami at the
Yeah.
Frost Museum.
Well, the one that's at the PAM that you should see, another
not-
Chinese
probably
artist,
not
it's not Xu Bing, it's Zhao Gang, and it's worth it. It's well put together. They had it. Oh my god. Okay, so go look at that one. There's also a Caribbean exhibition that I'm not sure how I felt about
Wait,
it,
is this
but
the
you might
third
like it.
complaint? Is this the third complaint?
They have an exhibition right now where it's some guy's collection that he donated to the PAM, and he must have said, like, I want it exhibited or else you guys don't get it or something. And
Sure. That happens all the time.
they put all his stuff into one gallery, and it's just a mess. I
Yeah.
don't know who decided on that. I don't know if they did it right now in August or September so that nobody would see it, but it is bad.
So the MAM,
So go to Zhao Gang.
many years ago when the MAM was campaigning to build their new museum, and moved to the last beautiful piece of public land, waterfront, a lot of complaints that were leveled against them by big-time collectors like Margulies and others who were really against it. They said, hey, we do need a world-class museum, but the people who are running it aren't necessarily the people who should take it to the next level. And they said, and the one issue that they cited was they don't have a collection. They got maybe 250 pieces in their collection. A world-class city museum has got to have thousands.
Okay.
They had like a couple hundred. My buddy was the registrar at the time. And we used to work there and install there. And we installed the same stuff out of the permanent collection over and over again in
man.
different orders. And that was basically what it was. And so when everybody was like protesting and saying, hey, we got to have a big world-class museum on this multi-million-dollar chunk of property right there, and it's a gorgeous piece of property, and let's give it to this museum, a lot of people were detractors saying
They don't have it. They don't have what it
there's
takes.
no gas in the tank.
Gotcha.
So they're hungry ever since then, and this is
Dude.
going back many years. They're hungry ever since then to grow that collection. So in my years in this business, the directors make deals with collectors all the time. We'll exhibit your collection, a selection from your collection. We'll curate it. We'll print a catalog. We'll handle it. It'll gain you provenance. And what we're really campaigning for is you're going to donate it when you're too old and your kids don't want it. And that is honestly That's the formula there.
Yo, can I ask you a technical question?
Sure, hit me.
What is the hanging rule? It's like 76 inches from the center of the painting to the floor.
If you're a basketball player, we do 60 inches on center.
60 inches on center.
If you have a very, very high ceiling,
Okay.
some people will do 62, 63.
So for like a 10-foot wall, it's 60.
60 on center. Yeah,
60
that's
on
actually
center.
a small wall. The feeling is, and this comes out of Europe, 158 centimeters or something like that is considered an average eye height. And you'll receive a lot of times artworks that have specifications from the artist, especially Olafur Eliasson is huge on this. And we always have, I don't want to say arguments, but we have professional disagreements with clients who will buy something from an artist. And in the installation instructions from the artist, it says hang this at 158 or 160 centimeters, which is 60 inches, which is considered an average eye height. So basically they want half of the piece above your eye height and half the piece below your eye height. And why is that? So you're not craning your neck at pieces as you go into a gallery and look at a piece of art. And simultaneously, you're not looking down on a piece of artwork. Now, when we're in galleries and museums that have really short, like ceilings, like 8 foot or so, we'll do like 58. We'll cheat it down a little bit. And I'm a tall guy, so that 70-something inches will be fine for me.
Okay.
But,
Is that good for your house too, or no?
the house, you're going to have to go by. When we do installations in people's homes, that's where I always said my next big boat is going to be named the Extra Inch, because what we do in the homes is we hold it up in front of the people at what we feel fits the wall. And then when they say, listen, don't go by any formula. This is your home. In this room, you got high walls. We can get away with 60 on center.
Site specific.
But if this is hanging in your home and it's an old Florida home, you've got shorter wall ceilings, and we hold it up and we say, hey, an inch higher, an inch lower.
Is it
Cool.
like it can also be relative to like the windows or the door?
Of course,
seal
if you're hanging it behind the couch, which is a huge thing in art, is artwork that matches the couch. We've all heard this trope many times, you know. And so when people want to hang it behind the couch, well, you don't put it at 60 inches on center because the couch is up about a good 38, 40 inches. So what you got to do is you got to hang the artwork low enough that the person can still see it without craning their neck, but high enough so that, and we usually put a dude on a couch and say, have him sit back so you see he's not going to bang it with his head.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and that's what we do. We do that in homes all the time. I mean, I've made my living for 20 years doing that sort of stuff.
Dope.
Cool.
Yo,
yeah.
I can take us on all the tangents you want.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let me
Tangents, that's my job.
let me remind
excellent.
the listeners that it's Wednesday, October 9th, 2019. This is Nothing's Going On, episode 20. We're here live on Jolt Radio. I'm your host, Rafa. I'm here with Artie and with Rod, and we are talking about Miami. And now I'm going to go straight into the news, tell you some stuff that's happening.
Can I remind the listeners also that time is an illusion. Don't even worry about it.
Especially if you're listening to this on the playback. Okay, the first thing I'll mention, and I'll ask you guys about this. You guys notice that king tide or any of that stuff? Does that make it out to Kendall, that king tide that happened last week?
You mean when I went to the marina and the water was over the dock?
Yeah.
Never saw it. Yeah, we've been having some serious high water for like this month.
Yeah.
Gnarly, huh?
No, out in Kendall, we don't get it.
Really? Like if it rains, it doesn't stay if it's
because
high
the
tide?
inland is a lot like Holland. We have a system of canals and water control locks where on what they do is on a super low tide, we open the water locks on the bay side and all the fresh water pumps out. And when they know storms are coming, because they got hit in that no-name storm in 2000 where everything flooded out in Kendall, I had fish and ducks under my truck. True story. I live in Kendall by a lake. And
teach a man to fish is one thing, but if you just put fish right in front of his doorstep,
you know what? You're going to make manager. Straight from trainee, man. Anyway, but you're right. And what Holland did is Holland is an island or is a coastal nation, and they hundreds of years ago they all got together and made
they built it
massive. And it's a not to tangentialize too much, but it was a massive investment of time and energy of a generation of people who weren't going to see the benefits. It was going to be the future generations who would eventually have this dam and lock system that Holland has. So Kendall is no Amsterdam. But
like a little Amsterdam is what you're telling
in
us.
certain parts, for sure, we've got red
You'll
lights.
find some weed there.
And you can find weed. Yes, there's hookers and weed for sure. Anybody know? Call in. Should we give out that number? But that's being said, no. When we get these huge heavy rain systems, ever since that no-name storm of 2000, we don't really get any major flooding out, like street flooding a little bit, but nothing like.
Is it feasible? From what I've heard, it's not feasible to make like kind of retainer walls like there is in. I guess that's more Vienna, but like from what I understand, what's going on with the king tides here in Miami is not like the only way to kind of get over that is to like build the roads on stilts, kind of thing.
The king tides
I don't know.
they're cyclical.
Eventually,
they're cyclical.
Yeah,
and it
yeah,
has
of
to
course.
do with you got a storm. And
The moon is super
a
close.
moon,
Yeah, if
and a regular like spring tide. Now we're out of the spring right now, but the spring tides are always higher. and
no, I was just gonna say that if your sewers drain to the bay, and it rains during the king tide while it's high tide, then you get some bad flooding, man.
well,
Smell like
that's
this-
why
smell like the studio.
back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, how they developed Miami was with steam shovels on floating barges, and they dug the canal system that crisscrosses our land down here, and it crisscrosses the state. And what it does is that dug down, because the water table was so high here, the deeper you dig, you create these pockets for water and lakes, and you create an area for the water to go to. And that was really great for developing the land. But it kind of affects our water quality when jerks here dump a car with batteries and gasoline and brake fluid, and they want to hide it with a body in it or something like that. And then that kind of messes up the water system and the water table. But yeah, so inland, we're not so affected by the king tides because we're not really tidal inland. We're tidal on the coasts.
Gotcha.
Right.
Yo, but it was not. It
was real high, man.
Everyone should follow this guy Brian McNulty, who's a University of Miami researcher at Rasmus, and he's always posting stuff about hurricanes and all that stuff. But he's got me super into just king tides, and I want to work on some more work with it. But he posts what should be the normal average this time of year, and then like what a king tide does. And dude, an extra foot can like disable the city.
Well, like he just
An
said,
extra
you go to the
2 or
marinas
3
and
feet,
the docks
and
were
you're-
underwater.
Yeah.
You
Dude,
know,
that's 2 or 3 feet. There's maps online that Brian has tweeted out that show you how much, like what parts of Miami will get flooded with 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot. And I think that's a great way, like if you're buying a home, to kind of keep an eye out, like what'll end up coming
Underwater.
in and out. Yeah.
Well, it hits you with flood insurance, but then the big threat is to us down here is here in South Florida, south of Lake Okeechobee, our drinking water, and a lot of the homes until recently are well water. I grew up in a well water home.
Okay.
My father was on well water. For
and then
many
it
years.
floods your well water. And
Well, what happens is
yeah.
you get salt water
intrusion,
is what they call it, and basically you start to get salt water that's seeping into the freshwater underground system, and then you can't drink it anymore.
Is that because the fresh water is being cut off by all the farming? Like the sugar
not so much.
industry,
So do you,
blah,
do
blah,
you
blah.
know that like 150 years ago, and even up to like 110 years ago, Biscayne Bay had areas where fresh water would boil up in the bay, and
I
it
can
was coming
imagine.
down. You know where from?
From North Florida, from like Tallahassee? And
I'll raise you. It was coming from the Appalachian Mountains because the Appalachian Mountains.
of course, that
They-
makes a ton of sense.
So wait. Before you guys keep
Wait a
going
minute, wait a minute.
on Appalachia, can I tell you something?
Miami Beach is telling me global warming.
Climate change, but well, they're definitely higher than.
Thank you, bro.
They're definitely higher than they were. But one thing I want to talk to you guys about that the radio listener, there's no scratch and sniff radio, but in this little corner of the studio today, I don't know where it's coming from, but it smells like dog shit, like literal, like a dog.
There's a dog asleep on the
Took a
couch
turn.
right there.
That dog is trained, so I don't think it's him.
Yeah, but he's an old
And
dog.
It's right here, and I can't find
you know
it,
what
and it's
happens to
just
old
you're not
people.
getting it, huh? It's not in your nose.
No.
It started.
No.
I started inhaling it, but I don't like to think about it as like dog shit. I like to think about it as dog fertilizer.
Okay.
So like maybe the carpet will end up growing like
But
a little weed plant or something.
But don't you guys get that thing that when you smell dog shit that you think like, oh, it's on my shoe, it's on, it's
Well, usually it is.
that's the thing. And so I've been checking my shoes. I'm wondering if it's in my chair.
It might be in your underwear.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, but I don't know, man. It's gotten me in. Anyway, moving on. Call 305-361-8557.
361.
If you want to drop us a line or text us on any of these things we're talking about. It's Wednesday, October 9th, 2019. Let's keep moving. I'm tired of those tides. I got something better for you.
Man, I'm all about the tides.
There is so Miami Beach had these super large fines for people doing illegal Airbnbs.
Oh yeah, that's
It was
huge.
$20,000 for the first violation, $40,000 for the second, $60,000 for the third, $80,000 for the fourth, up to $100,000. Right? That's for doing it once. If they catch you one time doing an Airbnb, so
How much was that?
$20,000. $20,000 if they catch you one time. So hey,
Dude,
these guys took it to court.
Bro.
They took it to court, and the judge struck it down. The judge says you can't impose those kind of fines, and it's because apparently state of Florida has a maximum, like a cap on code violations. That's $1,000 a day. So that's the most they can.
Yes, that's
do,
correct.
right?
Dude, all those guys on Miami Beach were like,
So here's the thing. Your average like little Airbnb that charges $150, obviously he was out of the game with $20,000. This was supposed to deter. This other thing that I saw is that there's houses that rent there for like $60,000 a week.
of course.
And unless you get a $20,000 fine, a $1,000 fine is not going to deter you from doing that kind of thing.
It's to push out the little guy, and this is why we don't have a train that goes from the airport directly to Miami Beach. They don't want it. They don't want schleppers on Miami Beach.
There's so many schleppers right now. It's obvious.
Listen, Miami Beach used to be for working class, and now what they really, really want is the bedroom tax or the pillow tax and the
that's
hotel
exactly
fees.
it.
Yeah.
They want people there blowing big dough, and they don't want it. And
They don't want little dough.
well, it's funny.
They don't want you to make any like they don't like I don't know. I
It's
guess
competition. If you got an Airbnb, people are going to be like, "Why am
Yeah.
I going to pay $300 a night to do an Airbnb if I can do?"
You mean a hotel instead of an
excuse me, for if $300 a night for a hotel, if I can do $300 and get 2 nights in
Well,
an Airbnb
yeah.
with a pool or a house and parking. you
Yeah.
It's
know?
funny though. They always love to say open it up to competition and stuff, and then they'll just see whoever's got the longest kind of like just the deepest pockets. They'll just tailor whatever kind of like government regulation for it, and
my building doesn't allow Airbnb. Just has like the condo association doesn't allow it.
it's fine though. Like well, it's not fine, but
honestly,
it's- at
I
least
kind
it's
of I get it because like
become
old
condo
people don't like it,
president.
yeah. But I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind if people are coming
You
in
don't.
and out.
No, bull.
I don't give
And
a shit
I
about
almost
that
said
stuff.
the full. You don't want that. You don't want Memorial Day weekend to be the guy on the left side and the right side of your door to rent it out to a bunch of raging college students to like be partying and puking in the hallway, and you're coming home from a late day. Actually, you work from home, so maybe you're going out after a late day, but you don't want to be coming back tired and after traffic and like they've trashed the hallway.
I mean, but the trash in the hallways is just not allowed. Period. You know, but
It's not allowed to residents.
You could still allow short-term rentals and not get those kind of people.
Airbnb, you're going to be inviting in like people who are there to party, man. on a Memorial Day
Always.
weekend.
I use Airbnb
on
sometimes.
a July 4th. Listen, so did we.
Yeah.
My old
I'm
lady
not
and
there.
I, we use it when we travel, and we love it, man. We've had some
Yeah.
I guess
great
if you're in Miami
experiences.
Beach, you're going to get the party going.
But, there's one thing when you're in Flagstaff, Arizona, like we were, and it was really nice, as opposed to Miami Beach, I don't know. The kind of people who are going to want to save a few bucks and say, hey, let's get an Airbnb instead of bringing our 10 buddies to a hotel. Let's just pack an Airbnb, and we're going to sleep on the floor in the hallway. Dude, if you're the resident and you live there year-round next door and you got a park there, I think you're going to have an issue with that.
It's funny because you can find a balance somehow, and not everyone's going to be happy. But the idea of them going over the top and doing the 20 grand fee when they know that it's, I don't know, some kind of lawyer has to know that you can only charge $1,000, and they still do it. Nah, bro.
Well, it's over. So for now, rest assured, if you're running your little illegal Airbnb over in Miami Beach, you just got it. You're fine.
Yo, but that comes down to like being able to do that, and I don't know. I guess it's a little different, but being able to grow your own weed plants. Like being able to do that is like giving like people the opportunity to like make a little side cash, make a little money off your because the idea of owning property is for intergenerational wealth, to be able to pass it on, and it's hard to hold on to money when you got to pay taxes on all kind of stuff.
Listen, I think the Airbnb idea of
It raises
me
rents.
and the old lady, our kids have gone off to college, and we've got a few rooms open in the house. So if people who are hikers and travelers want to come by and stay a couple of nights, and we'll cook a few breakfasts, and they give us a little dough, and it helps us out on our property mortgage, I think that's great. And we did it in North Carolina. Me and my old lady found a great old couple whose kids were grown, and we stayed in an old attic that was converted with our kids, and they had goats, and it was beautiful.
You make a new friend. Yeah.
It was beautiful. It really was. So, you ever hear the term that crap rolls downhill?
Oh,
so
yeah.
Rolls right into the corner here.
Who's further downhill than South Florida, right? So South Florida's never seen a cart. There's never been
Puerto
a
Rico.
carpetbagger, a shyster who's ever passed up on South Florida. So what you'll get down here is the guys who want to buy up a bunch of duplexes or a bunch of apartments in Rafa's building and put them on left and the right side of him. And then next thing you know, during Urban Beach weekend, he's going to pack them full. And there's going to be scooters and Vespas outside, and there's going to be boom boom music and boom boom activity going on until 4 o'clock in the morning. You want to live next to that?
No, but
And is that the same
yeah,
thing?
no, but there's smarter people that can look into the laws and be like, all right, well, certain ownership percentages and blah blah, or maybe like an exclusion zone on South Beach, like maybe.
Well,
skip
the whole thing is an exclusion zone.
Yeah.
No, but you mean exclusion, allow South Beach to do it and not the rest of Miami Beach?
Or other way around, or I don't know, man. Like, look
I
at all
don't
the
know.
details.
It drives up rents too. So
Well, listen,
that's why
what's the biggest industry on South Beach? Other than it's tourism, right?
Yeah.
I was gonna say other than liquor and food, it's renting the hotels
and live.
you think they got the mayor's ear, or the Airbnb guys got the mayor's ear?
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
That being said, actually, I'm gonna.
Oh yeah, chime in. You got something for me there, Artie?
Well,
Artie's
I do.
Got the
And
bulletin. Beep 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 beep.
Thank you. By the way, folks, it's October 9th, 2019. You're on Nothing's Going On in Miami. If you want to chime in on the show, it's 305-361-8557.
It's a pro.
We're not necessarily going to answer. But that being said, City of Miami Police, they want to spend $70,000 on a powerful phone tracking software.
Ooh, I had this written down too.
From a Nebraska company called Penlink, and they do cell phone tracking. Now, for years, Miami-Dade Police Department has been sharing texts, emails, phone calls, and GPS locations from almost any phone with other county departments. Now, the City of Miami, Miami Police Department, MPD, police want their own program for $70,000 plus $15,000 a year to maintain the software. The commission meeting is, you know when it is? It's tomorrow.
Oof.
That's how current my my stuff is.
Yo, go and make your voices heard.
They say it's critical for cases of missing persons, kidnappings, homicides, robberies, where time is of the essence. We all know that that's BS.
BS.
Software is sold for years to cops from this company, and the protesters during the Ferguson Black Lives Matter protests in 2014 stated that their phones stopped working when certain police vehicles drove nearby the protests. Imagine that.
Didn't all the leaders of the Black Lives Matter, like, they all got killed?
What? I don't know.
I don't know. And listen, I shop in conspiracy theories. I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah.
So the reporters at that time suggested the records unveiled cops were listening in on the activists' phone calls.
Damn.
The software can intercept calls, GPS data from cell towers, as well as IP data and web search info.
That's crazy.
Miami Police Department and the city of Miami want to be, they say they want to be self-sufficient, according to their chief, Colina.
That is some bullshit. You know, I don't like it at all. And I don't like how, what's the word? I mean, how it's just a blanket kind of catch-all system, you know what I mean? If they want, they can
we're going to have like
they can just grab everybody's phone calls or grab everybody's.
We're going to have uniform cameras, right? The cameras on the cops, and now they're going to also be running the software, listening into our phones and seeing our texts and stuff like this. It's a bit of a surveillance state. Are we talking 1984 has arrived? I had read a thing that said
it's here, but
1984. The book.
Probably arrived.
Was meant as a warning, not as a guidebook. Mm-hmm. Apparently, we didn't take the warning, and it's here.
1984 probably happened in 1984. Like, all this surveillance stuff is coming out now.
I like this guy.
It's probably coming out.
It's here.
Yeah, it's been
People
out
know.
forever.
Freaking Snowden put it out there.
Yo, can I
ago.
give another shout out? Tor browser and DuckDuckGo.com.
I've
been using DuckDuckGo.
Me too.
VPN yourself.
You know what the thing is? It just sucks that you have to go to such lengths to just have a little privacy. And I'm not even doing anything illegal. I just don't like the idea of everything I ever said being collected.
It smells like.
And now even on the local level, because Miami cops, like, do you trust them with all your data?
No, and
people are like, oh yeah, I trust the government. I trust like the NSA to not care about. But Miami cops aren't going after terrorists, man. They're going after you.
To quote my friend Slim Jersey, you know what I hate? I hate these jokers who are like, well, I'm not doing anything wrong, so take away my privacy. You know, I'm like, you don't get it. You're a dumbass.
I can't wait till I get my hands on one of these things, and I can. I'm a friend of mine who feels that way. I'll be like, oh yeah, you don't care?
Strangle him out.
Here's all your data.
Here's your search history, buddy.
Have them read a book called "They Thought They Were Free." It's this.
These people don't read books.
Books? What's a book?
I think the guy.
Is that an old technology?
Milton.
No, but
Milton something.
At some point, especially with all this collection, especially if you're collecting it here in Miami, like that stuff, it's no longer. Some people like, oh, the federal government doesn't care about you, whatever. But at what point does like the local guy who's doing all this surveillance not care about you? Of course he cares about you, and he knows a bunch of people in your town, and he's got this machine that lets him read everybody's freaking text messages and listen in on phone calls and check who they're calling. Oh, just horrible.
And if the cops have this technology, who's to say that the average Joe Schmo exploiter doesn't have it in his basement?
Exactly.
Because it ends up being the jerk that from high school that ended up becoming a cop that now has like
absolutely
all this info on you and where you're gonna go and turn around and call the cops on a cop, bro.
Right. No, and so here we are, and we're in a worse position than 1984 could have ever predicted.
Yeah, because that was overt. This one is like, we're
1984 is the overlords, right? And the big brother was watching you. But now it's also your neighbor who doesn't like you, or that dude from high school who you screwed his girlfriend. He doesn't like you. and he's gonna ruin your life because he's harboring it. You know, people with like vendettas are going to be able to use this.
Yeah.
I'm totally against it.
And for what exactly? That's the other thing. Like, are we living so? Are things so rough out here that we need this?
No, it's
you know what I mean?
It's
like,
always
for what?
It's always criminal protection. It's always like cops thinking that they're protecting from coming in from a certain direction when there's a lot of societal issues that we all just ignore, or that the funding gets cut. I don't know, like, man. I mean, if someone, I mean, I'm always on the side of the person that feels the need to have to go rob, has been going through a ton of distortions through his life that causes.
Bro, I liked you up until now.
And that's totally.
Bro, I've been robbed, man, and I'm not feeling sorry for the guy who robbed me. Man.
You're totally welcome to feel your feelings.
Welcome, I'm there, bro.
That guy is.
No, I
not right in the head.
And I understand it, but there are certain societal conditions that force that. And I'm not saying that the person doesn't make his own decision, but people get placed in a shitty spot, and when you're in a shitty spot, you do what you can.
So
listen.
What's that got to do with?
I got no space for this new. Let's identify with the rule breaker here and say it's our fault for being privileged. That's BS.
No, I
man.
didn't say that. No.
I don't feel sorry for guys.
What I'm saying is the government, instead of this idea of protecting and serving, there are other places that the resources can be better used to serve and prevent it, like preventative measures.
Nip it in the bud, you're saying?
Instead of reactionary measures.
So there was a story a couple of years back where a guy was breaking into an old guy's home, and the old guy was in bed. It was like a Second Amendment case. The old guy was asleep with his wife, and he heard a noise, and they were breaking through the window. Mm-hmm. And the old guy was old school. He picked up his shotgun, and he went, and the guy was in his 70s, and this dude is breaking in the middle of the night, is crawling in through the window, and he blasted him. Mm-hmm. And he killed him. Mm. The perpetrator's sister said, well, he could have fired a warning shot. That was her argument. And so that's what I'm saying is...
Yeah, it's an
what's that got to... Okay, stop it a second here. First we were talking about surveillance, and this guy starts talking about the
instead of giving the
perp's
cops
head or wherever he came from, which is a valid thing to talk about.
Cops the power to just do that. Let's try and help the perp not have to.
But that's got nothing to do with the surveillance. They still want the surveillance.
Listen,
and what you're saying is also like another tangent about like the castle doctrine. And we're getting into like a whole different thing. And I don't want to talk about that shit because that is just a beat up topic. I'd rather just get back to surveillance.
Fair enough.
Miami cops are going to be able to intercept.
Well, then actually, my next story will be perfect for you.
Okay.
And this is, you know how I like to bring things back around on this show?
Yeah.
There's a Miami Beach cop.
Oh, this one's good.
Who's suspended for appearing for his like third time in a video with twerking women in lingerie. Officer, I'm not going to put his name out there because I don't know.
Nah, but why?
Well, our show...
we don't have to. You get the point across and whatever.
I'll give his first name. Officer
Honestly, I'll keep going. Just tell the story and I'll give my comments.
Officer William appears in a series of Instagram videos. Isn't Instagram like your alley right here? No?
We're on Instagram right now. Hey, guys.
There you go. I don't even know what that thing is. But anyway, there's an officer. I've heard of it. I've never been on it. He appears in a series of Instagram videos. He appears to, in the latest one, he appears to arrest 3 scantily clad women. He throws them in the back of a cruiser where they twerk in handcuffs. One was a former Playboy model who claimed the officer asked to be part of the skit. And this is not even the first time in the last 30 days for this officer. They're in lingerie. They at the end, they say, thank you, Officer Billy, or whatever they call him, for letting us go. And it's like this whole thing where like he arrests these chicks while he's in uniform. He puts them in a cruiser. He takes them to the station.
Yeah,
takes them to the station,
Yeah.
and then he lets them go. And they're like, "Thank you," and they're twerking in handcuffs in the back of the cruiser. The city of Miami Beach city manager Jimmy Morales, who's run for mayor a couple of times, said, "We will not tolerate such behavior in our community." And I'm wondering, are we talking about the same Miami Beach that I know?
So
Isn't this the home of Club Madonna and Vegas Cabaret?
Shout out to Liv.
I could forgive this guy for entertaining the tourists or entertaining the people in Miami Beach. Up until the part of taking them to the station. At that point, I think this guy's just digging around a little too much. You know what I mean? He's like, what's he doing?
I like your choice of words.
He's not doing his duties anymore. It's one thing to be like a friendly cop
and serve, man. He's serving.
It's one thing to be a friendly cop and play into, like, you know, some people are messing around. You've seen those internet videos where like the cop rides a skateboard or he's playing basketball with the kids or something like that. You know,
I don't spend that much time on the internet, but
whatever.
I imagine it's out there.
Those videos exist, and you're just like, oh, that's good. That's like community policing.
Yeah,
you know, that's like good
community
stuff.
building,
And even this with like Playboy models who are scantily clad, even if you play around with them a little bit.
Well, apparently he's suspended because this isn't his first, second, or third time in these videos.
But the
guy's a regular.
Taking him to the station, that sounds like the whole thing took like an hour. And that's a lot of time to be fucking around, you know?
Well, they suspended him.
You also missed the part where they twerk on all the other police officers at the station.
Oh, I didn't get that.
That's a nice little detail, too. So they like dance around in the station.
Well, Jimmy Morales, the city manager, said, "Hey, this makes a mockery of our whole."
Yeah, we got caught. You got caught. What
I'm thinking, you think? You guys, I mean, come on. Everyone knows this place is a laughing stock.
These girls have millions of followers on Instagram, millions. So obviously the video's getting out there.
Yo, it's Miami PD, Miami Beach PD marketing, bro. It's 101, man.
Well, it would be up until wasting an hour of your time taking up to the station.
I'm thinking to this cop.
Are you out of your fucking mind?
Of course you are.
Clearly.
I recognize that.
That voice?
Yeah,
it's impossible.
Oh, it's the guy.
No, these are my homemade ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I get these from local guys.
Sounds like Bryan Cranston from
Breaking Bad?
No, it was that show that he was on before, Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah, but we wouldn't say fucking mind on Malcolm in the Middle.
Touche.
No. And I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
Rod. Ramrod.
Roddy Blaze 420.
Roddy Blaze 420. I only got one thing to say to you.
Okay, that's enough.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Okay.
That was your voice too?
That's my mom. I got her on.
All right, boys. It's Wednesday, October 9th,
Shout out to my
2019.
mom.
I got some more stuff. If you're
I know.
ready for
I want to
it.
hear it. It's Nothing's Going On, episode 20. I'm your host, Rafa.
Wait,
Here-
I thought this was episode 19.
No, we did. We announced 19 last. We skipped 18. Skipped it by mistake.
We're just going to call this.
Can we be 18 plus?
No.
Listen, and this is an anniversary for us.
Is it?
20th show?
It's not really.
Does 20 make some kind of anniversary?
Well, what is
No,
it? Paper or silver or what is it?
I think silver's like 25.
25 is silver.
Yeah, but we can put an asterisk like all like
The
baseball. in the
20th
90s.
anniversary is paper. I got paper right here.
We started the show sometime in like November, so we can.
No, but
I'll
how many?
double-check.
How many shows? Anyway, a study by Wallet Hub. I guess that's wallethub.com. Miami is the third best foodie city in the United States.
Ooh,
After who?
Well, number one is Portland, and number two is New York City. I would have thought New York City would be number one.
I would.
This is in the nation now.
I got a little story actually from this weekend. So my brother's a huge foodie.
Does he take photos of the shit he eats?
No, he's not. He's not that kind of foodie. No, but he's the one guy that he will tell you, and this is literally happened. He's like, dude, the best croquetas I've ever had were at Chef Andres at the SLS, and then he's like, man, the best pizza I've ever had was this like place called, I think it's called like Legendario, like down the street. And he's like, man, the best this and that. And he's like, look, you know what? Just because you're here and you're in town, we're going to go to all these spots and we're going to hit up the best things that I've ever had. So we went to the SLS. We had the croquetas and the gazpacho. Fire. We went across the street to Cleo's and we had the shawarma. Wow. The best shawarma ever that I've
I got
ever
to
had.
tell you, hit Shahs of Kebab if you want Persian or Iranian food. It's shawarma is. It used to be you'd go to Daily Bread. I imagine these guys are better than Daily Bread.
Oh yeah, it's next level. And then he's like, oh, dude, the world's best pizza is at this place, and he's gonna kill me for forgetting, but I think it's called Legendario, and it's on Española Way, and it is the best pizza in the world.
Okay,
Well,
I went to that
locals
place.
would say andiamo.
Okay, so I went to. First of all,
Wait a minute. Are you a foodie?
I like to eat food, and I have strong opinions on it, just like I have strong opinions on everything else. And so I went to that place that Wampy, that Rod's brother,
Shout out to Wampy.
yeah,
the W.
that he said. And let me look up the name. He's right. It's on Española.
Well, the Legendario.
I don't think it's called Legendario.
It's probably legendario, brother. And you seem to be a Latin guy. Why are you pronouncing the G?
No, it's because it's Italiano. It has two G's in it. Legendario. The guy's from Napoli, and apparently he's had pizza every single day of his life. And dude, I'm not even kidding. It is. I was like, yo, let's get the fancy prosciutto and with the. He's like, no, try the margarita, or however the margarita, and
Margarita is just like sauce and cheese, right?
with a little basil leaf. Delicious, dude. Like absolutely delicious, and it's next level. Honestly, next level. Go out there. We gotta find the name.
It's Legenda.
Legenda.
It's Legenda. I went to Legenda.
Legend and
I really liked it, but I still think Lucali is better. Lucali is also on the beach, and it's definitely better. I'll tell you what's not the best pizza.
Godfathers?
Miami's best pizza. I went there last weekend.
They're garbage.
Yeah, I went there 2 weekends ago, and
I've never eaten there. But if they say Miami's best, they're garbage.
it was crunchy, and it was good and thin, but the cheese didn't taste like much, and the tomato sauce didn't taste like anything. You go to these other places, the Legenda or Lucali, which I think is the best. Those places taste real good. Not Miami's best.
There's
Anyway.
a pizza joint opening up next to 1301.
Oh yeah, we kept talking about it. It's not 1306 on
Is that
Miami
what it is?
Avenue. Yeah.
On Miami Avenue.
But we've been talking about this since the show started a year
They
ago.
have had some serious infighting, and the owner and the disputes. And one of the main guys who started it and went to the classes in Napoli and pulled an oven from Napoli.
Oh yeah, we've talked about this. But
He's been ousted.
really,
Yes. And he's going to bail, and he's going to go to up north in New England. He's had it with Miami, as a lot of us have.
yo, I did.
Huh?
I live in Mexico.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
he moved over there in a
Yeah.
little town in Mexico.
little
Nice.
pueblo.
So you're visiting here right now?
Yeah, shout out to Tepoztlán, Morelos. That's where I live.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's a lot like Kendall.
Oh man, dude, it's at the edge of a mountain, and I live just 5 minutes away from the world's most beautiful waterfalls and cascades.
Why have we been doing our show on trivial Miami stuff when we could have been talking about this?
Dude.
What? I don't want to talk about
Oh, wait,
this.
this
We
is
gotta
a
go
Miami.
back to food.
You know what? I'm sorry.
What happened to the
So
food?
it's
Screw
Miami,
your hometown. This is a Miami
it's
show.
Miami inspired. It's Miami inspired.
I'd love to hear about it.
Oh, it's an hour south of Mexico City, man, and it's
wait.
Yeah, all right.
But on another show.
I can get into it. I can in the Tepoztlán Morelos show.
Bro, people don't even know where Westchester is.
I'm trying to
You're
bring
gonna try
culture
and
to Westchester, bro.
tell
I went to
them-
Columbus, bro. Westchester love forever.
You're gonna try and tell them where
Yo,
some
Tepos,
town
bro.
south of Mexico.
I can't
bro.
even pronounce that town.
Hey, I went to
Tepoztlán.
Rincon. Talking about food, I went to Rinconcito Mexicano on Saturday. After that night, and you went to the beach, I went to go eat at Rinconcito Mexicano. It's on 8th Street. You know where it is? 8th Street and 20th.
No, there's two places on A Street that are worthy Mexicans. One is Tacos El Carnal, and the other one is Tacos El Mexicano. Yes, that one is right next to 95. It's
No, not
also
the one I'm
called
thinking
El
about.
Alto de Carmen, and it is legitimate. It is the best. I had a pozole.
Yeah.
Man, I'm converted.
Yo, shout out to Mexico, bro.
Yeah,
Wow.
shout out. I had some
Pozole,
enchiladas.
bro.
Viva Mexico.
It's a pork soup. And they bring you all the herbs and spices on the side. You can dump as much as you want. I pour the whole bowl in it. And I suffer the next day, but it's good. It's real good.
I'm so hungry.
The best international and cheapest international vacation that you can take is not Key West. It is Mexico.
Well, Key West would
actually-
technically not be international.
I don't know, bro.
It's actually West Kendall.
If Puerto Rico is international, so is Key West.
Okay, wait. So tell me this headline
Shout
again
out
about
to the K-hole.
about the foodies, about the food cities. Which one's the number one?
Going
Portland,
back to
it
this
said.
is a study by Wallet Hub that says that Miami is third in the best foodie city in the USA, behind the number one Portland, and I
can't believe it.
and number two New York. I would have thought New York would be number
yeah,
one.
Yeah.
Wait, has anybody here been to Portland?
No.
No, and you won't catch me dead in Portland. One, because I hate hipsters, and two, because
But you only heard
Portland's,
about it.
Portland's
You-
full of hipsters,
you
and I
heard
say
about it
that
on-
with two guys with beards here. and,
Yeah,
You heard
yeah,
about it
but
on
the-
TV,
the
man.
one
What are you
that's-
talking
that's
about?
drinking-
no, I didn't hear that on TV. I don't own a TV for
Well,
10 years.
you'd never
That's
been, so where did you
hipster
hear
of you,
it?
bro? Not having a TV, that's
I,
super hipster. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, that's
Dude-
mad hipster.
Dude, I haven't owned there hasn't been a TV in my house for over 11 years,
It
bro.
sounds like you're like the original hipster.
But I got
Like,
no beard. I have no
Portland was
beard. I don't
inspired by
smoke
you.
pot. I wear glasses.
You got the cool frames. Yeah, we know.
I don't eat vegan tacos.
You're not. You don't have any logos on. Like, I don't know, man. Pretty hipster, bro.
No,
Yeah.
Like,
Jesus.
look at your
I-
phone case, bro. That
Oh,
is.
yeah.
Oh, dude, you guys are
Little-
calling me
Little-
out.
A retro
Show the
phone.
viewers
No,
the little,
it's
the
like
little,
an-
the
it's
little
an
leather,
iPhone
the little
1.
phone case.
It's like the. Oh man.
Oh, he's got the
Yo,
old school
like it,
iPhone. He
bro.
doesn't want to get the new one.
I had a 3.
I'm not-
You know the hardest
Vintage-
part of having that
vintage
case
iPhone.
is admitting to your wife you're a hipster.
Yo, I think you just did it.
All right, moving on.
International radio.
Don Johnson says Miami Vice could come back
No,
on some UK morning show. He just made it
Yes.
as a passing
Yes,
comment. But
we should do it.
Wait, but
We should do it.
reruns, not a.
no,
No,
I would,
new ones with LL Cool J from the one that he's on.
what? LL Cool J's on Miami Vice,
No, he's on something
Like
that's
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
where he's like a same.
I
kind
don't
of,
know, but I
Oh, it's like NCIS.
yeah,
like
that's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, something that no one ever watches. But
But
it's,
we should
for
have
some reason it's on
Luke
TV.
Skywalker, Uncle
yeah.
Luke,
I mean,
Miami. You know Uncle Luke?
I'd watch that.
Luke Skywalker?
Yeah, but
Yeah. Luther Campbell,
just make it good.
our
If you're
boy,
gonna-
man.
if
The
you're
guy
gonna-
ran for mayor.
Yo, if you're gonna copy it, make it good.
Yeah, dude. Make it Miami style.
I don't know what that has to do with Miami Vice. I guess Don Johnson would come back. I don't know. It was just
As
a
an
passing comment.
ancient, as the ghost of Sonny Crockett.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey,
my
El
God.
So-
abuelito.
So I got into about 10 years ago. What year is it today? It's 2019. Yeah, maybe like 10, 12 years ago, I got into Miami Vice. It was on reruns on Sleuth TV.
You never saw the originals?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. The originals, but I caught the reruns. I was young when they came out. The show started in like 83 when I was born, and it ended in 87 or 88. So I would have been too young. I caught the reruns when I was a kid, but then now as an adult, I watched them again. The first 2 seasons are awesome. Like, just great cop shows. And what I was going to say is that
Yes, sir.
you guys have watched the show, right?
I lived Miami Vice as a
Okay.
kid, man.
John Johnson.
Definitely.
They filmed
not.
in my neighborhood,
I have
man.
not seen it.
You got less gray hair than me, so you
Philip Michael Thomas, but the one kind of little shout out I want to give now, talking about Miami Vice.
Glenn Fry was on one of them. Glenn Fry from the Eagles.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah, but it's
something.
something
Like
like, he was
Diana
like a
Felton?
guest on the show. But what about Edward James Olmos as
Awesome.
as
Awesome.
the chief? Oh, my
man.
God. So good.
Okay.
You know, and I hate to agree with you on anything.
now,
but,
He
now
was
I'm-
so
Now
good.
I'm interested. Now I'm interested.
He was so good. He played it with he had no feelings. He would keep a straight
what was his
face the whole
character's
time.
name?
Classic cop.
Lieutenant
Castillo.
Or right, Lieutenant Castillo.
Castillo. That was
Yeah.
his only name. And they had the 2 buddies. I forget their names.
Oh, the other guys, the guy in the Hawaiian shirt and the
Yes.
other guy.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
great show. Watch the first 2 seasons. Okay, that's about it. I don't think he's going to give I don't think it's really going to happen. I think somebody just asked him on a UK morning show, and he was like,
they should resurrect it.
He was like,
Listen,
maybe
don't
it could
you know
happen.
everything old is new? There's Hollywood is
Well, that's what he said. He's like, they're out of ideas. So
Hollywood's bankrupt.
Yeah, so they've been
Hollywood
asking
is absolutely bankrupt. That's why we have like a
No, it's not-
X-Men. Like
They had to replace all the potted
It's not because of
plants.
that. It's what audiences want. Audiences have become
Well,
lame, and they want to see the same thing over
but-
again. I
but
know
there's-
that
but
thing,
there's
so I
there's
want to go see it.
There is a fine balance between what the audience wants and what the people that are making it think that the audience wants. Because you can push it, man. Have you guys seen Joker?
no,
that's
but I
another-
heard it's
Wow.
That's Batman.
I saw the
That's
trailers. I
Batman.
thought it was awesome. I haven't seen a movie.
No,
since
but
me
it's
and my old lady were
not-
pregnant
it's
10 years
not
ago.
Batman. It's not Batman. It reminded me more of Fight Club than of Batman. Like, it's gnarly. It's gnarly. Like
Gnarly is violent.
Yeah, but why can't
like
some-
gnarly? Yeah, dude. Like
I saw the
no,
trailers,
but
and it
it's
looks
not just
good.
gnarly because it has this kind of like Children of Men vibe where it's like they'll throw in a joke before they really bring in something heavy, and they're not letting you know that
Children
it'll
of
come.
Men was heavy, dude.
Okay, wait.
And they balanced it well with some kind of jokes like right before, and then they would flip it.
So-
but the Joker. It's
So
good,
let
it's
me
good,
ask you
it's
something.
good.
Do you know the Joker proves the point that I just made, that people want something that they know already. So here's the thing:
Right.
they took the Joker's backstory and they reinvented it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, why can't you make a movie that has that kind of story but without the Joker? Because people won't go watch it because they need this character that we already know from all these other bullshit fucking
It's because
comics.
since the
if-
since the internet,
To give 'em a story.
collectively we have no we have short term memory.
We've
You
been-
have to reference something that the collective mind knows.
It's
And
pathetic.
it is
Dude,
pathetic.
no way.
It's horrible.
Like-
dude, the Fight Club would never make it today. Apocalypse Now would never
Right,
make it today.
But blame the producers more than the viewers. Now, sure, you can create a fan base,
No.
and you can bring people. But dude,
these great
this
movies were made
this
before the
Joker
end
movie could have
before
been,
the internet.
But this Joker movie could have been called El Joker, and it still would have been nuts. It still would have been nuts.
I've seen the trailer for it.
I'm sure it would have been
and
good. They just wouldn't have made it.
I honestly, I've
yeah,
gone
but
to
that-
like
see, that's like the producer.
I've gone to two movies since my kids have
been
been born, taking the old lady on a date and going
Frozen.
to Frozen.
On a
No,
date.
no,
On a date.
God bless. No, I can't even remember what the hell we saw because they were so. Oh
That
no,
could
I
be
saw
Frozen.
Green. I saw Green Book, which I thought was okay.
Really?
Yeah, Green Book.
The Notebook.
No,
Green
Green
Book.
Book.
Green Book.
Just kidding, I was talking-
It was pretty good. Actually, I like rewatching it. There's certain scenes from it that were pretty good, but I don't think it was a tour de force. I don't think there's been really strong movies.
They're out there, I'm sure.
in a long time.
But they're not about Miami, which is kind of a shame. Okay.
Well, true. Hey, since Scarface.
Okay, last bit of news here.
Wait a minute. I've got
Moonlight.
openings and closings. And
Okay,
stuff.
wait, that's later. That's the last
Oh.
bit of news, I said.
Go ahead.
School threats are up. Miami-Dade County Public Schools police force has investigated 24 threats against schools and arrested 6 people in connection with those events since the academic school year began in August. Big rise over last year. Nearly all of the incidents explained as nothing more than a joke. I was just joking that I was going to shoot up the school. What do you
Yes,
think about that?
I'll tell you this. I remember as a kid, you'd call in a bomb threat on a test day.
Yeah.
Sort of deal. And it was a total BS, and it's horrible. But kids, and I never did it, but I
Kids
knew
take it too far.
yeah.
No, but now what it is...
But in this
they don't know where the line is.
hyper aware digital society with the school shootings, all you got to do is be like, you know what? I really don't want to take that chemistry test. Have a buddy call in a scare, and boom.
Yeah,
You're
but
school-
Yeah, that would work,
Now,
but these
now
kid-
the Miami PD has your text. So.
Yeah, that's
right.
So these kids are getting busted because they're telling their friends these things, or putting it into their little group chats or whatever, and then somebody's like, "Oh," or posting it on Facebook or whatever, and then I
So
don't think
here
they use
we are.
Facebook, but
Here we are, 1984. Groupthink
The overcorrection
is monitored by.
well, at the same time, they're kind of putting it out publicly, and if I made I don't know, credible threat, they're probably not very credible, but if I made a threat in a public forum.
I'm always amazed.
Sure,
these
we'd be taken
people.
seriously.
I'm always
right?
amazed these people who make these plans. And like Anthony Weiner, you remember him?
The dude that sexted all the chicks,
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the politician.
Those photos, the internet doesn't.
He would send him his.
the
He'd send a
internet-
bunch of cock photos.
And look,
like-
as a photographer, they weren't very good. Technically.
I'm sure you could, give him some pointers.
Actually, I could, but that's for when I get older.
But my point is,
I told you guys
it's like,
it smells like poop over here. God.
yeah, we heard it, but who
Yeah,
doesn't
you
know
get
that
beyond the
who doesn't
shit,
know
man.
that the internet and the blogosphere and the
Is
social
public.
media sphere doesn't forget. And so these
Yeah.
kids who are doing this and
It's
they're
like some joke, little prank, and
right, and they're doing it,
and
and
you're
they're
on
not
the
gonna,
news.
and they're not going to forget,
Yeah.
and then that's going to be you.
Well, there's definitely an overcorrection with the technology that we're using. Dude, we've had the internet for what, 10, 15 years?
Oh God, 96.
I mean, proper, much longer, but
But
the masses didn't get onto the internet until
So-
like 7 years ago.
We got hit with this massive technology that we don't understand how to use. Like, I don't think ever in our lifetimes we're going to understand it. I think the next generation is going to have a better sense because they're already born
What
with
it
it.
really is the Borg. Did
But
you ever
it's-
see the? Did you ever see the Star Trek, the Borg?
Oh,
That's
no,
what it
but-
is.
But they call it, yeah. Star Trek is right on a bunch of stuff.
The dude, Star Trek was right on so many. I'm a big believer. I'm a
in
big.
Star Trek.
So I want to tell you. I want to tell you how I knew President Trump would be president.
Because you voted for him, honestly.
No, I haven't voted for many years.
Oh.
Because The Simpsons had an episode about Lisa becoming president, and she referenced President Trump. And so I
so-
believe that they
Got it.
they telecast us what is the future in the media
Okay,
that we consume.
that's it.
Oh, I
You're
like,
cut off.
I like where we're going with this. So the aliens are
No, not aliens.
Are channeling the Simpsons.
So do you know that who was the first to show the flip phone was Star Trek? Who was the first to show the iPad was Star Trek. Star Trek, there's a Google out there that you can do, and you're going to kick me off the show. That's okay.
God.
I got my car out front.
We got it. We're
But
straight
there's
in
a
it.
Google about how Star Trek showed all these technologies way before we ever had them. And then we had them speaking to the computer. Do you remember?
I love how you call it a Google. There's a Google out there, boys.
So Star Trek, do you remember where they would speak to the computer,
Uh-huh.
and now it's Alexa.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. That's the big brother in your house already. You just let it into your house.
So-
what we didn't count on is that it's not the government putting it in there. It's you buying it like an idiot.
I'm going to tell you two quick stories
Right,
and
they're making
very
profit.
It's
fast
got openings and closings.
and very fast succession. I had there's a friend of my father's.
You've never
He-
told a quick story. Keep going.
He's an old hippie, and he actually attended Woodstock. And he told me, he says, Artie, I got it right this time. He said, when we were young, we opposed and we fought giving out our social security number and our address on everything.
Yeah.
He says, you guys now are giving it out everything. Everything is on social media. What you like, your name, your social security number, everything. He's like, it's all out there. Secondly, I forgot the second one.
Perfect. Let's move on that note. Well, I don't want to get too deep into this.
I like this
I gotta
host.
go.
He's good.
too.
Yeah, we should get on radio
Wednesday, October 9th, 2019. This is Nothing's Going On in Miami, episode 20. I'm your host, Ralph. I'm here with Artie and Rod.
We
We're
must
talking-
have missed your call at 305-361-8557.
Yeah, you can still give us a call and tell us about if you got any comments, or you can text us
show.
there
Yeah,
too.
send a text.
So let me ask you something.
Send a Whats.
You told me you have openings and closings, or do you just have a calendar?
I got a little bit of a calendar. October
Oh, okay.
10th, House of Death,
That's tomorrow.
Miami Shores. There's a 15,000 square foot haunted house.
Ooh, I
and
like
it's
this.
open until November 2nd. It's like a Halloween themed kind of deal.
That's good.
October 11th, there's Occupy Miami Carnival weekend on South Beach.
It's Friday.
That's going to be dirty.
That
But
cop
the
will be
big
there.
stuff starts October 12th. One is Grovetoberfest. Say that 3 times fast.
Grovetoberfest, Grovetoberfest, Grovetoberfest.
Damn it, he did it. And there's also one in Wynwood, but the one in Grove is Grovetoberfest.
They have
It's-
a Grovetoberfest in Wynwood?
No, there's Wynwood is also having an Oktoberfest Wynwood, but they didn't have Wynwood Toberfest. They couldn't make the name. So Grovetoberfest is at Regatta Park, and there's over 500 craft beers. And you know, if you ever went in the old days to the Grove Art Festival, these sort of things, they're going to close off the roads. You're going to walk around. You're going to drink beer. People are going to walk their pit bulls around, and there's going to be art, and there's going to be girls with painted chests, and it's going to be interesting.
It's gonna be a lot of yeast.
Is that
Yes,
Do you have another Saturday, October 12th one? Because I have one here.
I do. The Florida Hemp Fest
Ooh.
at Virginia Key Park.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, be very sure where you park your car, because likely you'll forget it.
And those
And that's all I have is Florida Hemp Fest is at the Virginia Key Park. And I don't know if that means they're going to be burning it, if they're going to be wearing it, if they're going to be making ropes out of it. Because
All of the above.
You know, hemp ropes are really good.
Well, if... Oh,
There's another. There's,
I have an October
I got
12th
2 more.
Saturday also. Let me give that
Hit
one.
me.
Yayoi Kusama is opening one of those infinity rooms at the ICA.
With her famous mirror room.
Yes, the mirror rooms.
Which are her
Infinity
painted
Mirrors.
pumpkins and stuff.
Infinity Mirrors was the exhibition that traveled around, but we're not getting that. We're just getting one of the rooms. It's called All the Eternal Love I Have for the Pumpkins. If you guys haven't seen what this is, it's this art show that it's very Instagrammable, and the ICA is getting it. Now get this. The ICA is doing this special thing. They're only going to let you in from Thursdays to Sundays. Okay, to see the exhibition. Every other day you can't see it, and you get 1 minute in the room. That's it. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Her name
Anyway, it's that
Yayoi-
kind of But
her
if
name
you're
is
Yayoi Kusama,
Yayoi Kusama. She's very, very historical, influential, groundbreaking. Even I dare to say, and I hate that word. Conceptual artist from the 70s. She goes back. She had many interesting installations, like the homosexual orgy installation that she used to do. Invited a bunch of homosexuals into the museum gallery area to have an orgy, and that was her piece. Check it out. There's some very interesting.
that would be
There's some interesting images.
Site
That would be
specific.
something.
Cool.
Yeah, very site
Yeah.
specific.
So anyway, this room's coming on Saturday.
She's
it's gonna
still
be
alive.
Through January. It's going to be open at the ICA Miami. It's one of those Instagrammable things. You might want to go.
I challenge you
I
not
wonder
to
if-
take your phone in the room. How about that? Take 1 minute
Oh,
to breathe. Just meditate in it.
I mean, I don't need to get a
Smell
photo
it.
I'm all
of it.
for that,
There's
man.
plenty of
Yeah.
photos of it out there, but I just wanted to put it out there. I was actually going to talk about it earlier, but whatever. Do you have anything between October 12th and October 18th? Because I have something
Yes,
on
I
the
do.
18th.
Other than the Florida Hemp Fest at Virginia Key Park, there's La Feria del Rio. There's a Riverside Spanish Festival at the Wharf in Overtown. You can expect it's a fair about Spain. You can expect flamenco and tempranillo.
Tempranillo's a wine.
Is that super dry white wine that
No,
makes you want to spit?
it's a red and it's a grape
oh yeah.
What's the one that they serve out of the barrel with the long
cider.
No, I went to one and they served it straight out of the barrel with this long
Sherry.
No, this long stick with a little bucket at the bottom, and they poured it in, and it was white, and it was like a Chardonnay, but it was so dry it made you want to like spit
Cava? No?
sawdust.
Really? Where?
At CCE, at Centro Cultural Español, where I met you one
Are
time.
you sure they weren't serving cider? Because that's
you made
how you
me
usually
smoke a
do.
nicotube, as I remember.
Yo, Rafa, can you do
Not
me
at the
a,
CCE.
Rafa,
Yes,
Rafa,
when
can
we
you-
buried
That was at the CCE.
Regina Galindo.
Yo, Rafa, can you do us all a huge favor? And,
Sure.
And can we just hear your like super Spanish Spaniard accent? Like, give me like a phrase.
What was it called again? What was the show called again?
when he pronounces zeta.
Bueno, es que es de España, tío, y quiero que escuchar que me habla como español, joder.
Así
Yo no vengo
hablan.
aquí para que me hablen como cubano.
Compay,
you got
tío.
it. There, you got it.
Habla español, tío.
What was the name of the show?
Tío, a ti
La
te
que
hablan
del-
español, tío.
Joder.
La no sé qué del
Joder.
río. What was it called?
Vale,
Vale, tío, joder.
vale. Oye,
Venga.
eso fue mi
Venga.
primer
Venga.
experiencia con los gallegos.
Epa.
Vale,
Vale, ¿tienes algo más o
coño. Hijo de puta.
tienes algo más para el calendario, señor Arturo?
Yes, I do. Lost Weekend is going to celebrate its 23rd anniversary. Lost
Ooh.
Weekend on South Beach. You
Yes.
know, the place where we all
Right
lost.
next to the pizza
Where we all
spot.
lost
It's right next to La Leyenda.
La Leyenda?
Yeah.
I've lost several weekends there, and they're celebrating their
kill all
23rd
your
anniversary.
idols.
I think I had an argument with my old lady 20-something years ago when they were
Probably.
new, right out front, and then got hammered and didn't remember it. They're on 218 Española. There's going to be live rock with local bands such as Highlight, the Swayzes,
Ooh.
and Sun City Riot.
Oh.
No mention of Fugazi. I'm
No.
sorry.
They were never going to come.
Yeah, I don't know any of these bands, but I know this show is particular to Fugazi, which I think in Italian means the fakes, right?
That I don't know.
Yeah,
not
it's
Italian.
a Fugazi. It's a fake. Huh? Right, faking.
Faking it. I should know that.
Shit, boy. Damn it, and I never cuss on this show. and you gotta-
Is Trump
Whatever. Friday, October
Fugazi
18th.
news.
Last thing for you, Friday, October 18th is Juan Waters at Las Rosas. You might want to go check that out. Okay, that's all we got. Make sure you go to nothingsgoingon.com and you can download the podcast, subscribe, and all that stuff. Thank you to Jolt Radio for hosting us.
Folks, you can still call in at 305-361-8557.
No one's calling. Whatever. I want to thank Rod for coming on the show today, and I want to thank Arthur. Is it Arthur? Arturo?
It's Arthur, and you mispronounce it as Arturo consistently, but I chalk that up to your Spaniard heritage.
It's not his fault. Can't help it.
Okay, let's play ourselves out. 1, 2, 3. Thanks, guys, and good night.
Hey, Miami, good yuntif. I hope you break the fast well.